Look down at the sweeping architecture of London's Queen Elizabeth Olympic Park. It is a setting built for serious, high-stakes international competition, and today it is hosting exactly that, a major rugby kickoff. Down on the pitch, we are witnessing a massive clash of styles. The deeply traditional South African Springboks are lining up shoulder to shoulder, ready to face off against the USA Eagles. But up in the broadcast booth, the regular host has resigned to chase the American dream. In his place sits Mr. Football, a wildly unqualified gridiron commentator who has seized the microphone. He immediately establishes his own set of rules. Because he was born in a town called Rugby, North Dakota, Mr. Football claims he holds true aristocratic credentials. In his mind, this geographical coincidence makes him untouchable in the land of the lords, and entirely immune to being carded by the referee. Mr. Football begins by stripping the players of their heritage, discarding their actual surnames. Instead, he assigns them two-syllable NFL monikers, like Beast Mode and The Fridge, because he believes coaches lack the cognitive capacity to memorize complex names. A single delusional pundit has successfully hijacked the broadcast, rewriting the sporting identity of an entire game in real time. As the match kicks off, the on-field action breaks down almost immediately. When rugby terminology is interpreted through Mr. Football's American financial lens, the logic of the game stops working. A player goes down in the ruck and asks his teammates for a neck roll for physical support. The referee, strictly interpreting the phrase as financial advice, sharply corrects the player and tells him to consider a bankroll instead. The medical protocols suffer a similar breakdown. Another player takes a hit and suffers a cut to the head. Under normal rules, he would be sent to the blood bin for a quick patch-up. Instead, the referee mandates that the player must visit the blood bank to donate plasma for a social care program. Beside Mr. Football in the booth sits Bob, the regular South African co-commentator. Sporting a haircut that makes him look almost exactly like a minion, Bob is terrified, desperately trying to act as the voice of reason against this unfolding madness. Mixing measuring systems is dangerous. Mr. Football maps yard-to-gain markers over fluid rugby phases, trapping the Springboks in a 4th and 26 situation. Bob recalls Nas, whose career was shattered by the metric system. Unable to convert yards to meters, he missed every kick. Imposing imperial gridiron math onto a metric rugby pitch destroys the physical progression of the game, stalling the match in impossible mathematical scenarios. Mr. Football continues his commentary by praising the Springboks for a supposed tactical masterstroke, claiming they are exploiting the USA Eagles' cover 2 zone defense. In reality, he is cheering for a highly illegal maneuver. He describes the Springboks pulling their left guard, sending a massive player out to deliberately obstruct defenders, as a brilliant strategy rather than a blatant penalty. Bob tries to ground the broadcast by explaining what a true collision looks like. He clarifies that a proper rugby tackle requires a full front-on tackle, usually with no arms, executed with 0 body armor. To survive this, Bob suggests a player needs a steel plate in the skull, a six-pack in the middle, and a ball box to avoid a sex change or even death. Mr. Football dismisses the danger. He compares rugby to the NFL, which he views as a special dance performed before making out with the quarterback. When illegal blocks and obstruction are praised as strategy, the match loses its status as a regulated sport and becomes a series of unpenalized on-field felonies. The game reaches its climax when the USA Eagles coach decides to bypass every sports regulation. He introduces an apocalyptic replacement, Chuck Norris. For Bob, this triggers a total psychological meltdown as internet jokes become verifiable facts. He begins hyperventilating, screaming that if Chuck Norris is shot, tomorrow is the bullet's funeral. Bob reveals the secret behind the massive prop Os Durant, claiming he only derives his power by wearing Chuck Norris's pajamas. Sensing the end, the Springbok captain realizes standard strategy is useless. To win, he must fully embrace the fictional 4th and 26 scenario created by the commentator. The captain calls for a maneuver that doesn't exist in the rugby playbook, a fake field goal. The center passes the ball, and the captain exploits the confusion to tear down the right side of the pitch. The USA team stands frozen, baffled by a rule that doesn't exist. In the chaos, the Springboks score a bizarre 27-yard quick-draw touchdown try. Mr. Football takes a sip of his grain belt premium, satisfied. By imposing an alien vocabulary on the game, he has turned a professional match into a world where imaginary field goals and yard line calculations dictate the winner.